Welcome back to another episode of the Novio podcast. I love the people that are coming on board for me to get to know because not only am I getting to know them, but y'all are getting to know them. And this is somebody that I think you have to know and definitely add on your Spotify, on your Apple Music, even though I am Team Spotify. But if you are Apple Music, that's cool too. You're welcomed here. But this is so important because I believe in the power of music and community, and also the power of being a boss ass bitch. Okay. And what I do want everyone to know is that I have this amazing songstress with me. Not only a songstress, but also producer, lyricist, like it's all types, director, marketing, social media. This all happens in the music industry. So I want y'all to get to know Emaan with me, who is here live in studio. So welcome, Emaan.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I just want to let the people know, you have so much accolades. Like, not only are you schooled in music because you did go to school as well, but you have a passion for music since you were literally a child. So, let me know how music has influenced you, apart from the schooling, apart from everything. Like, what's the raw, uncut version of why you love music?
Oh man, I feel like, well, the reason I got into it in the first place was watching my mom sing. She used to like enter herself in karaoke competitions. I don't know if she wants me saying all that, but it's what happened. And she used to sing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. This is when I was like 8 or younger, probably like 6 or 7, watching her, and I was always like, oh, she's so cool, I want to do that. And so I like entered myself in any musical theater, anything as a kid. And I'm not really a musical theater kid now, but it's all we had at school. And I just always gravitated towards music and that being a form of expression in any outlet or whatever I was a part of. And then growing up, learning how to songwrite, and expressing myself through that, it just took a whole different turn. And how I ended up writing song. I started off writing songs based on my own experiences, but then I started writing them based on like friends of mine's experiences or family members, and like giving it to them as gifts, or just like showing it to them, being like, I thought about you in this situation, and then watching them be moved by it and be like, oh my god, um that really like resonated with me. And that I feel like you really captured that in just by hearing me. And I don't
Mhm.
know, I liked evoking that feeling in a lot of people, and also for myself, and listening back to songs I've written forever ago and listening to them in different parts and periods of my life, and yeah, having them hit in different ways. So that's really the main reason I wanted to get into songwriting. But then making music and performing was
Mhm.
always just fun for me. Didn't really become some like a huge like purpose focus up until I started performing live in Oman in high school, and putting 15-second snippets back when Instagram videos were 15 seconds long, of me singing covers and stuff, and then slowly growing a following through that. A lot of people were taking notes and being just like, "Oh, she's a woman who's Armani and is posting her face online and being public about it, and is
Mhm.
also performing like in open mics." Like, oh my god, who does she think she is? Because it's very taboo back home to like kind of
You're like, I'm that
be
girl.
public. I just want to sing. Like,
Yeah.
it just kind of was what I never thought of it as a big deal. I'm also half American, half Armani, and for a lot of people who grew up in Armani, as Armani's like reputation is everything, and like keeping that very sacred and just like solid is what people try to aim for, whether that's like who you surround yourself with, where you're at, what you do with your life. Like, people are always keeping their eyes out because it feels very small towny. Um, and so when I'm out here performing at open mics, people are kind of like, what? All that to say, like, I would still perform and put myself out there. And then eventually there were girls who came up to me being like, thank you for doing this for us. And I was like 16 at the time, just being like, thank you for doing this for I'm literally just singing a Ed Sheeran cover, like, on stage, like, oh my
Yeah.
god. And then I realized, like, the weight of it all, of being like, "Oh, like, this is actually like subconsciously or like subliminally giving out, like you're kind of being a voice for these people who feel as though they can't do that. So that branched out into being like, I want to be able to be a voice, also be able to provide a platform. And I used to host little jam sessions at my house, and invite a bunch of people I knew in like the local Armani music scene who didn't want to put their faces out there online, but could come over and like have jam sessions. And it started off that way, and now it's slowly branching out to helping out the diaspora out here in LA.
I think it's
And
so important too, because like for context, for everyone listening, like Emaan is originally from Oman as well, and Oman American, and maybe a lot of people don't even know where Oman is and like the traditions, why, different things that might be very like normal here in the US might not be as like contemporary and normal in Oman. But also the power of music, how like music really is breaking cultural barriers. It's also providing for many people. Like, can you kind of like break it down a little bit to us why it's so important? Maybe like why it's not as easy for someone in Oman to just post themselves on social media, because here in the US, a lot of artists have no problem getting on their phone, making a TikTok, making a video, and singing. It's so
Mhm.
easy. It's so like second nature. Why
Yeah.
isn't that as second nature back home?
It's all just the fear of tarnishing your reputation or being perceived at all. And
Mhm.
that doesn't just fall back on you end of the day. Like, yeah, for you, it might just be like, oh, it's just a silly TikTok of me
Mhm.
telling people what I like. I don't know, singing a cover, or like telling people what I did today, or something I found funny, or like talking a specific way. Doesn't matter. You're still putting yourself out there for the chance of being perceived, and people could take that in a type of way. It's really just the fear of your reputation going down, because end of the day, it's not you, just you. It's your family's name as well that's being tied to it, and that's the internet is forever. It's just a whole lot of fear, which is like to an extent valid. You don't know who's
Mhm.
watching you at all times, and like it's scary putting yourself out there, but it really all comes down to like what is your intention with the stuff that you're putting out, and like are you hurting anybody? Are you actively, like, going out of your way to do anything wrong or bad? Most likely no, and most likely it's just spur of the moment, or, just for expression, but a lot of people, unfortunately, don't always see it in that light, and so that's what's made it really difficult, I feel, at least in my experience, and from what I've seen, but, yeah, there's just a whole lot of tradition and culture that are still very ingrained in Oman, and a lot of it is very beautiful and sacred and will hopefully always be that way, but to an extent also that our generation is slowly building up a different lens for the newer generation to come, and also for us.
And so are
And
you. I think it's so
thanks.
powerful. I know you mentioned tradition and culture, and I'm definitely one that I love being Latina. Like, obviously, my podcast is Novio. You do not have to speak
Mhm,
Spanish to participate in this podcast. Just like for you, like, you do not have to be Arabic or part of the Middle Eastern community to appreciate your music. Like, your music touches anyone that listens. So I think it's so brave too that you're like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna just put my stuff out there and do it. So like, can you kind of let us know like how you started, like, hey, I want to go into music school, get a
mhm.
little bit of like the accolades and everything like that? Because there's no one way to do it. You could go to school, you cannot go to school. But what got you to be like, you know what? I want to go to music school. Let me go.
Music was just always the one thing that I loved and knew that I loved, and truly there was no plan B. Like I couldn't tell you. The potential plan B was, like, to be a vet, and then I found
Oh
out
my
I was allergic. I was
gosh.
like, "Oh, I'm allergic to cats. Oh, can't do
Yeah,
that.
you
Guess
can't
I'm
do
gonna stick
that.
to
Yeah.
music." And, like, that's really it. Like, I've always loved music and always gravitated towards it, throughout my entire life, and I've put all of my passion into solely that. So I didn't really see anything else being another option. Um, when I applied to Berkeley, that was the only school I applied to. I planned on applying to another one in Chicago,
Mhm.
and before I even could apply, I did like an early application to Berkeley, and then heard back from them like 2 weeks later, and then got accepted. And I was like, oh, we're
It was
done.
meant to
Cool.
be.
I
Yeah,
was
it
like,
was.
okay, we're good then. I guess we'll see how this goes. But like, alhamdulillah, I'm very blessed to be able to have very supportive parents
Mhm.
um who yeah have always like believed in me, in the vision, and like wanting to see me um see me happy in the space, and that they've seen that I've gravitated, like have always loved music my entire life. And like, yeah, at that point they were like, yeah, this is like her thing. Like, I don't know what else it would be that she would go into. Then maybe my dad would slide in here and there and be like, like, you could always go into like business. I was like, yeah, for sure, for sure. Um,
I think
so
parents
yeah,
are always afraid that like anything in the arts you can't make money, or like how are you gonna support yourself? Like, I don't want my
exactly.
child to like be struggling. But I know I saw somewhere in an article that you were like, I don't think for me at least, I need to have a 9 to 5 job or a desk job. So like
Mhm.
can you let us know like a day in the life of a
Mhm.
music artist right now for you, or like even in the struggle days, or like just the hardships, because I feel like you got to keep it real. Like what hardships did you go through as a independent artist, before having some support, before having a label behind you? Like how's that looking?
I feel like the whole 9 to 5 comment, if I'm being honest, I don't remember saying that. But like, I do think having a 9 to 5 as an artist is like totally acceptable. And like, yeah, people, you got to do what you got to do. I mean,
Hmm.
my current day to day, like my little day job that I have is singing to babies and to like
Oh my gosh.
little mommy and me classes. I love them. It's a cute way to still have music incorporated into your life and schedule, but like also not take yourself so serious. Like, you're singing to babies. It's cute. And yeah, it's just always, it's like a serotonin boost. So that's fun. Songwriting for or like co-writing has always been fun as well. And there's just so many different avenues. You could do the barista job. I used to be a florist. That was really fun, working with plants and flowers. Music, there's just so many different avenues for music itself. You can get into sync, like, and work for movies, or like work on getting your music played for movies or commercials or TV or anything. You can go into production, you can go into like the business side and marketing even. There's so many different ways, and I feel like I'm constantly finding new ways to go about it as well. And a lot of different skill sets that you then gain from just pursuing your artistry. Like, now I'm very into video editing and stuff like that, and
I could
that
tell
translates.
from your socials, like, and when you promote your parties, which we'll get into that. But I did want to talk to you about like the creative side of it, because like not only do you make the music, but you also put out this really cool like creative rollout. So kind of like walk me through your music process, also the creative side, because you do a little bit of everything. I feel like you wear many hats.
I try to. I feel like I've just learned a lot throughout the years, when putting out music, and also working with my team and brainstorming alongside with them. It's a whole lot of trial and error, a whole lot of that. But sorry, could you repeat your question?
Oh
Like,
yeah. Just
sorry.
the creative side, like where do you get your ideas? Like, some people they're like, I get my best ideas while I'm in the shower or I'm on a
Hmm.
walk.
Girl, I don't know. I feel like they'll just come to me at random times. Like, I'll just be, sometimes I'll go on a walk and then I'll be like, "Ooh, I could really, like, when I have a show coming up, maybe instead of, because I don't have current merch right now. I've had
Mhm.
merch releases in the past, but I was like, okay, well, I don't have merch right now, but I have hella clothes. So what if I did like a little thrift situation, like, and bring all these clothes on a clothing rack and be like, Iman's thrift, but it's like my merch, but it's like you could have my clothes. Like, it's
Yeah, yeah.
sustainable, I guess. Stuff like that. Rollouts, I really try to visualize, create mood boards, listen to the song a million times, and then see, and initially what always comes out is colors. I'll be like, okay, the song
Mhm.
feels pink. And let's just go with pink. What other images are coming to mind? Clouds, okay, and then we'll just start rolling, like, snowballing from there, um, in terms of visuals. As far as this latest rollout for Keep On Moving, um, I've always pictured clouds, the color blue, something just, like, ethereal, just, like, scarves or something very just airy. As far as the fisheye lens, I just like the look, but
Mhm.
I wanted to implement, using the fisheye lens for the specific rollout just for consistency's sake and aesthetic purposes, but for the context, for it all to be self-care related or, have that sort of theme going on to where it's just like a breather. This song is a breather. This song is when you're
Yeah,
overwhelmed as hell or you're doom scrolling on TikTok or you're just, like, in your head.
I need
Just
that
listen to this. Just
song.
like, I was doom scrolling last night. Like,
Yay.
it's a bad habit, but, this song is like, just a reminder, at least for myself and hopefully for other people. I call it my little therapy song. So, I hope that answers the question.
No,
Went
yeah.
on
I
the
think
tangents.
also too, like if y'all listening, Keep On Moving is gonna come out this Monday, July
Mhm.
15th. And the extra noise is because we're excited for it. It's coming out.
Exactly.
Yes. And I want to know too, like, how long did it take you to make that song? Was it like a song that was in a vault, or you were like, oh, let me put these things together and come out?
That song, I have been sitting on that song. It's been finished probably for 2 years.
Oh
It's
wow.
been done for 2 years, almost like, yeah, probably, yeah, about 2 years. But when making it, I feel like the producer I worked with, his name's 3114, he's awesome.
Mhm.
We worked on a million songs together. Um, he, made the beat first. I think I started freestyling to it. It took me a while to really get all my ideas down. I feel like it in total from, like, the start of the beat to finishing the song and finishing, like, songwriting at least, s I don't know, spitballing, like, 3, 4 months. Like, I'm just a very slow songwriter. If, like, I like something and I really want it to be amazing, sometimes it can take me forever because 'cause I'll just sit and then leave it and then come back to it and then put in a whole new idea and be like, "This is actually what I was trying to say. This is actually what I wanted to do."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, that
It's so
one probably took a
fascinating.
couple months.
Respect your process.
It's always different, but usually we'll start off with me mumbling into a mic until what I like a melody I like comes out, and then I'll songwrite to that melody. That tends to be the process most of the time.
I want to ask you too, like, what makes you unique as an artist that you're like, like when you listen to my music, this is the vibes that I want you to feel or walk
Mm,
away with when you go to my Spotify, Apple, or just land,
mm.
you stumble across me on TikTok or something.
I feel like it's hard to say because I feel like everyone who listens to my stuff, like, everyone's gonna have their own perspective and thoughts on it. I can't, like, necessarily pinpoint what I think people think. I guess the tone of my voice, I would say is kind of unique, at least
Mhm.
for me. I don't know. Like, other people could be like, I've heard that," but I don't know. For me, I think my tone, my flows or, like, melodies per se in terms of layering and, like, I don't know, direction, I feel like can some I've been told this is just based on what I've been told because I find it very hard to talk about myself and, like, how what makes me different. I'm like, "I don't know." Feel like that's not up to me. But, from what I've been told, I've heard my tone is smoky. I've heard that, my flows are, like or, like, melodies are melodies that, like, people are like, "I could not have come up with that." Like, "How did you get to where that was?" I feel like I incorporate a lot of like, harmonic minor, melodic minor, um, melodies into my music, and a lot of that comes from, like, an Arabic scale, and it's just, like, what I've always resonated with. I don't even, like, fully listen to a whole lot of Arabic music, or at least growing up, I didn't, but it just always appealed to me. I was like, "This is it. Like, this is the scale. This is the one." So I guess maybe that's where that comes in, and people are like, "Oh, it sounds unfamiliar or different."
Yeah,
But I think that's where the inspiration really comes from, so
I found like a very like some sense of like trap. And for some
Mm,
reason, I was like, oh,
yep,
this is like EDM or something, like in a way, like the way that everything got layered. I was like, I really love that. Like the function one, I was just like, okay,
thank
this
you.
is cool.
Yeah,
um,
it's whatever comes to mind based on the beat, I guess, but, yeah, I try to replicate the same energy or at least bring in my style to that energy.
yeah, and I feel like we all need a song that like kind of just gets us going because we all go through really tough situations, whether it's, a breakup, a loss of a friendship, you lose
Yeah,
your job or something, or just something just like ruins your day. So like how do you
exactly.
stay sane when something like unexpected happens or your mental health gets like a little crazy? How do you check in with yourself as an artist, as a person?
Journaling has helped so much. I feel like whenever I mean, okay, I go to therapy, one, that was key, like, because I feel like before therapy, I was, like, hard on my the whole reason I went to therapy in the first place is because I was my absolute worst critic, like, it actually was hindering me from growing at all as an artist. It was literally, like, just me being the absolute worst to myself and trying to get to the bottom of that, and so that's why I initially went, and then it unlocks a whole lot of new things for me and realizing just, like, finding new ways to keep myself grounded. Besides all that, if not therapy, journaling. Journaling has been, like, the thing that to get me out of my head because, like, I can do that. I can stay in my head for as long
What's
as
your
I need.
sign?
You know? What's my sign? I'm an
Yeah.
Aquarius, but I'm
Uh,
also a Scorpio moon, and journaling is great because I
yeah,
feel like a Scorpio
like,
moon can bottle.
right,
It can be
yeah, yeah.
so,
Put it in the
um,
music.
yeah, putting in the music is great, like, once I get to a point in, like, a good workflow, and I can put my ideas down, I get so excited, and it becomes the next thing I hyperfixate on and, like, immediately wanna leak it to the internet, and I'm like, "This is what I did 2 minutes ago." And everyone's like, "Okay, let's talk about your single you have coming up." Like, let's calm down. But I get very excited, and it does help me get out of that headspace, but yeah, journaling, talking to friends, getting out of my apartment or my immediate space, and going outside. Those are my 3 things that I would suggest to other people, or at least what works for me. Um, yeah, that's what I
I
would
love
say.
that, especially because I feel like you hear so many stories of like artists just in general, like whether they're not having the best of times, and then obviously there's like the really bad spectrum, and then the ones that
Mhm.
So I really love that, and I love too that you are heavy on community. So before we get to the party series, I want to talk to you about like how have you built community here in LA? Because originally you're not from LA, you moved out here. Like, how did you
Mhm.
find your tribe?
I, so when I was going So I went to Berkeley for college and, the moves after that, after graduating, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's either Nashville, New York, or LA." And,
Right.
I initially thought I was gonna go to New York because I just have been there a bunch. I resonate with New York's energy so much, and I was like, "Oh, I could see myself being out there," but then never really found, like, opportunity the same way, and also I was sick and tired of Boston's weather, and I was like, "Okay, maybe actually we can wait. We can wait
No
on
more
New York."
snow.
Yeah, 5 years in Boston was, like, too much. After coming from, like, the desert, I was like, "This is so crazy." So, um, yeah, my producer that I was working with, 3114, he was also moving out to LA, and a bunch of people I knew were moving out there, and one of my best friends is from LA, and she also went to college with me, and, she was out there, so I was like, "Okay, well, I could see my bubble that I'm already surrounded by is all out there, so, like, let me just see if I can get my footing there. And yeah, through my best friend and through a few other people, like ended up branching out, meeting their friends and their friends and da da da. And slowly then started meeting my Middle Eastern friend group and like circle, and realized that there's a bigger community out here than I ever imagined or thought. And so yeah, just kind of surrounded myself with them and like found a good core girl group and just was like, okay, this is like my little home right now. I don't really see myself going anywhere. Still want to go to New York eventually, but I don't know. I'm liking LA. LA is kind of has my heart right now. So this is it for right now.
No, I totally feel you. I feel like that's what also keeps artists in LA, because there's
Mhm.
so many people that come out here and they only stay 1 or 2 years, and because most likely they didn't find like good people to surround themselves with or friends, they end up going back or maybe not
Mhm.
as like hopeful to like continue their creative path. So I'm really
Yeah.
happy that you were able to find that community to like also inspire you to be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm good. Like I have a safe space here. So kind
Exactly.
of talk to us a little bit about how you started this amazing party series, because you do not have to be Middle Eastern, Arabic, or North African to go. It is open
Mhm.
for everyone. I need to pull up too. And that's what I mean. Like I didn't even know this was here in LA. So let us
Mhm.
know how the Midgelis
Yes,
started.
the Medlist. Yeah,
Midgelis.
the Medlist, initially started off as a podcast, that I was putting out episodes, I think, like, twice a month or once a month, and I would basically interview, creatives and mostly artists, but also people in the music industry or producers, and people that I've known who are, like, in the Dubai scene specifically, or people who are based out in Egypt. I was very well connected with the people out in that region after, like, being based in Armand and, like, being an artist based out there, and so,
Mhm.
um, yeah, the community kinda just found each other through, like, Instagram and just became online friends. Um, so yeah, I started interviewing them, putting them on, and putting other people onto them, and then I think it was, like, 2 years into me being in LA, or, like, a little over a year, I met up with my friend Carla, who I met through my best friend, Chantal, and basically, she was telling me about she's Syrian, and she was just living in LA for not too long, about the same time as me. It was just like,
Mhm.
I've struggled to, like, find my community out here. I feel like I'm really resonating with a whole new side of it because she grew up in Cleveland, where there is an Arab community out there as well, and she was surrounded by her own family who was all Syrian, and it's not
Mhm.
like community wasn't there, but it's different to see it from the lens of someone who didn't grow up in the country, or like grow up around the culture the same way, or like just felt kind of like an outsider still even within the community. And so her and I were resonating and bonding off of that, and I was like, girl, I lived in Armand and I felt like an outsider like just because I'm half. So like it just it's tough. So we kind of started branching off, and we were like, what if we did events? And she has a history of event planning as well. And she was like,
Mhm.
say no more, like held my hand and was like, we're doing this. And I was
Yeah.
like, yes, we're doing this. But we used to go to a bunch of parties together, and one of them being Happy Beats' parties. And he's a DJ
Mhm.
who's Palestinian, and he's phenomenal. Started out here in LA, and now he's like on a world tour being a Middle Eastern DJ who puts on Middle Eastern music, as well as, I believe, like Desi music as well, and mixes it in with Afro beats and like reggaeton, like just is for the culture. And it's just
That's
really cool to like
his link.
it is, yeah, next time he's in town, we should go. There are a few other people like Wasil,
Yes.
who host parties out here, and they're just I love to see people incorporate the culture into, like, the nightlife because that's what we've been lacking this whole time. So, that was a huge inspiration, and, like, just to see people like us, like, shine and just, like,
Yeah.
thrive and come together was exactly what we were hoping for. So it started off as a podcast and then events, and we were doing artist showcases, had a little residency at the Moroccan Lounge for like a couple shows. And yeah, ever since then we started branching off and doing little pop-ups without not just artist showcases. We've had movie nights at No Names Book Club at Book Club HQ, and we've had what else have we done? We've had networking events. We had a singles event, like, with speed dating, around
Singles
Valentine's Day.
event.
That was a lot of fun,
I
honestly.
love that.
And yeah, hosting other people who have, like, made stops in LA, like Yeah Tub Tub. They're based in Canada, but they're, like, a DJ duo, or, like,
Mhm.
it's a DJ party series and group, and they made a stop in LA, so we hosted them. Stuff like that. And just trying to create more events for the people and community, and bring that our culture to other people as well, because it very much is untapped, and it's slowly on the rise now, which has
Mhm.
been really, really cool to see. So, yeah, it's been awesome.
I love that because honestly, like you had said when you moved to LA, you're like, I didn't even know there was a need. And
Mm.
I'm pretty sure your friend wasn't the only one that felt that way of like, where are my people at? Or like, where can I go to party where I hear familiar music from,
Mhm.
my childhood or like turning up or whatever.
Exactly.
So what would be like a welcome for people that are like, oh, like, should I go? Like, what do you think? Like, if they go to an event, like, would there be a lot of culture shock, or it's very like open, or like, what do you
I feel
expect?
like I'm trying to base my answer off of experiences that my friends who aren't Arab or Middle Eastern, like, what they've had going to one of these parties, and I feel
Mhm.
like it starts off with them kind of being like, "Okay,
Yeah.
like, how do I dance to this?" And I'm like, "Alright, for sure." I'm like, "Just move your hips, bring something flowy, like a keffiyeh, scarf, something,
Mhm.
and just, like, twirl it. You can, like, do a little shimmy, shake your
Okay.
hips, like, really, it just kind of you'll just flow with it. You can do a little,
Mhm.
like, wrist movements, little moves to just kinda incorporate, but more or less, the beats are they'll hit, you'll have
Yeah, you'll
fun.
be like
The
dancing.
energy is great, and, like, our community is a very, very welcoming one, and a very, like, hospitable and compassionate community, like, one of the most out there, so, um, yeah, we'll make you feel right at home immediately, it's, like, not even a thing, so, yeah, that's what I would say. I'm like, "Prepare nothing, bring a scarf, and then
Bring a
just have fun. Bring a
scarf.
scarf and have fun." Like, that's all I
I'll
could really
report
suggest.
back for the next one.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'll definitely send you a link to anyone that I hear of, or if we're hosting one, like, please.
Yes, please. I've been checking out like different pockets. There's like a big Dominican community here in LA too.
Ooh,
They throw their own events, the
I love
Afro
that.
Beats events. So it's really cool just to see like everyone be like, you know what, there needs to be space for this type of like party. And
Mhm.
it's obviously for community and then also for to bring awareness.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you too, like, when people go to your events, do you also perform there, or it's mostly you try to show love to everybody else, and then you're more love like in the background of just providing the space?
Pretty much the latter. I usually will just provide the space. If there's ever a situation where we need a performer, we can't find anyone, which is pretty rare because we're, like, abundant in performers and artists and creatives out here. Um, I think I've performed at one event out of I don't even know how many we've done at this point, and it was, like, the very first artist showcase, and I headlined because I have a community out here and, like, a small following. I know people out here, and so it's
Mhm.
more so to, like, start getting our name out, and, like, also me being one of the 3 girls hosting who are part of the Majlis. I was like, "We I think it would be good to put a face to the name." But I
Mhm.
also don't wanna be the face to the name. It's just like I'm
Right.
one of the 3, but also it's about the community in the end of the day. So, yeah, I'm more so in the background. I have, like, my Majlis crew neck sweater on, just, like, checking people in, making sure everyone's
Yeah,
having a good time, like, just on the job. So,
I love
yeah.
that. For music, I could tell because I heard you say Afrobeat, so I know you listen to a bunch of different genres. As an
Yes.
artist, has there been a genre that you haven't tapped into lyrically or singing wise that you would love to experiment with?
That I would love to experiment with. feel like I've recently been getting into, at least I'm noticing a lot of my new music that I'm writing currently. The genre that I'm tapping into is like soft Jersey club type stuff, like Pink Panthers
Mm-hmm.
and who else am I trying to think of? There's other people that are coming to mind or like that I can't think of right now, but that
Mm-hmm.
vibe, um, but soft Jersey club, like something that's just like soft drum and bass, that sort of
I like
stuff.
drum too.
Yeah, stuff like that. That's what I'm trying to embody right now. There's other artists that I cannot think of right now. Pink Panthers is a big one though. Just very delicate melodies, very catchy, but over
Mhm.
like a nice bass and then a beat that just like makes you want to dance. But it's just like soft, but it still could go hard. Like it can do a
Right,
little bit
like,
of
don't
both.
underestimate.
Mhm, exactly. I've been resonating with that a lot. And I don't know. It feels very like soft, but also could be sexy. So
Mhm.
like that's just where I've been. That's
Yeah.
why, yeah.
I do have to ask you, when it comes to like dating or romantic relationships, like, do you have time for it? Because I know there's a lot of artists that are like, you know what, I'm locked in. I might not be in a relationship right now. Like, is that how you navigate, or kind of just like go through life? If it happens, you'll entertain, maybe dating, or you're locked in.
I feel like I can make the time for some dates. Like I make the time. I can make the time for some dates. If people are pursuing me, I'm like, okay, let's see what this is about. Like, let's
Right.
see. I'm very curious. I am very open in that sense. I can always find the time to make time for myself also. Like I don't disregard
Mm,
myself completely and I try not to get lost in doing that.
yeah.
Um I try to find a balance. I do my best. I know that when I'm in relationships, it's not that I procrastinate per se or like slack off, but like as I'm not where I could be as much like yeah. I don't like I guess it is a little bit of procrastination. There's a little bit. I get comfortable. It's easy to get comfortable, but
Right.
I'm always like I'll always keep myself busy and I'll be still doing my shit, but I could be on top of it a little bit more, give less attention to the person that I'm seeing if I'm like really, really in it. But as far as like dating, like right now I'm dating. It's just like it's very
Summertime.
casual. It's summer. It is summer. We are outside and it's
Yeah.
fun. And we're having fun. We're just feeling good, and if someone wants to pursue you, then, like, let's see what it's about. Let's just maybe. If we're interested, let's give it the time of day, but if not, then I've got shit I need to do. So, like,
Right,
that's
yeah.
that's just where my head has been.
I love that. I love that you
That's
also mentioned, like, I gotta date myself too, take myself on.
yeah. Exactly. I literally have a list of solo dates to take myself on, and I look through it, I'm like, I could do a botanical garden. I could do a flea market. I could do a farmer's market." Stuff like that. So
Since we're talking about, dating, collaboration, when you collab with artists, do you just hit them up on the DM, or most of them are LA based? Like, how do you collab with different artists?
Most of the time I feel like I don't collab as much as I would like to, or I've like struggled with collabs here and there. I'm like, do I like them or do I not? I don't know. Every time I've had a great time, but all of them that I've experienced in LA at least have all been through like DMs. I'll
Mm,
like yeah, check out their stuff that they have out or I'll ask them to send me some things that they're working on or things that they could hear me on and then work like that or get into a studio with them eventually. But I honestly have been very loyal to working with the main producer that I work with, and we've known each other since college, 3114. And he's been the main producer I go to.
pretty
Shout out
much.
him.
Yeah.
He's great. And that's been great, but when I have branched out with other people, I feel like my workflow is very much like they'll send me the beat, I'll work on it, send them demo vocals back on the beat and be like, how do we feel about this? And then go about it like that. And then when I'm ready to record main vocals, I'll go into the studio and record those and then send them over. A lot of them are remote sessions like that. But I have had quite a few co-writing sessions with other people and songwriters, and that's in the studio working the day of and like hopefully most of the time completing the song that day, which has been nice. That's not my usual workflow, but like it's been cool to still also do that. So yeah.
I love that. And I do know that, for your latest single, it's not a collab, it's you solo, which I think is super important as well. But I
Yeah.
do want to give you the time to kind of let us know why it's so important for us to check out your new single, where we can find you, and then also the Midgelist. So just kind of like plug us in into like how we can connect with you.
Yeah. So Keep On Moving, a really exciting song. It's a self-care anthem. It is a breather. It is a song that you should listen to when you're overwhelmed and when you're stressed out. And if you just need like a little friendly and happy, positive reminder to yourself to be like, yeah, shit's a little hard right now, but like things will get better eventually. Like just take this moment for you. Don't forget to prioritize yourself and like it's okay to just sit in this. It's okay.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I feel like we're all it's there have been very stressful times that have come up and everyone's going through their own stuff always. And so it's nice to be able to have a song to remind you of that. And I don't feel like I feel like I've listened to songs that are chill, but not ones with the direct meaning is exactly that to be like, it's okay and we can calm down and it's okay. Like everything's gonna be all right. So yeah, that's what I have to say about Keep On Moving. I'm very excited about her. It's been a long time coming for her to finally come out. So that comes out July 15th, this
This Monday,
Monday. This
today.
Monday. Today it's out. I'm
Today
so
out.
excited. So yeah, please go check her out. She'll be on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Bandcamp, I think. I don't know. Wherever you listen to music, she's there. YouTube for sure. Music video also coming out very soon. Oh,
Ooh.
and I'm excited for that. And what else? The Medgelist, we're on Instagram. We're on TikTok as well. You can find us at MJLS. I believe on Instagram it's the dot MJLS. So find us there. I'm posting updates about our upcoming shows very soon. We're hopefully trying to host a Syrian like Damascus Nights series very soon. It'll be like I can't say too much about it, but like
They're gonna be food.
there's gonna be food. There's gonna
Okay.
be food, art, music. It's a whole experience. So best believe we will feed you some Syrian food. So
Okay.
that'll be fun. Um And yeah, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all at Emaan Zadjali, Emaan. My last name Zadjali. And yeah, that's what I got so far. No show dates just yet, but check my Instagram and those will be coming out very soon.
Oh, they're coming. And everyone, like, don't forget, we have basically all of the links, all of the socials for Iman in the link of the description of this video. Definitely tune in to the single. It's out now. I feel like we all need a little reminder that everything's going to be okay. And also, whether you are, not doing that well, I hope that this episode like uplifts your spirit. Go check out the song and then also check out Iman because I'm excited and I will be pulling up to one of your events because I love a good party. Who doesn't?
Of
Thank
course. Of
you.
course.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Thank
that was it.
you.
Ciao.
Bye. Thank you.